All right. Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to try our first math video lesson, and I'm sure this will probably be much shorter than the lessons that I normally do in school. But today we are talking about getting into dealing with larger division with money. The main idea for the lesson for today is that by the end of the lesson, you can apply the various strategies taught this year to solve multi-digit multiplication or division problems. So let's jump right in and look at our first division problem. And it says, Mrs. Sanchez gave her three grandchildren $78 to share equally. How much money did each grandchild receive? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what is the question asking? Well, it's asking, how much money did each of the grandchildren receive? Second question is, do we know the total amount of money, or are we trying to find the total amount of money? And in this case, we know the total amount of money. It's $78. And if we know the total amount of money, we know it's going to be a division problem. Now, how many equal groups are we trying to break that $78 into? Well, three, because she gave it to her three grandchildren. So our equation is going to be 78 divided by 3 equals n. So we're trying to figure out how many groups of 3 it would take to get to 78. So I'm going to use what I know, and I'm just going to make a ratio table. And I'm going to start with, if each grandchild received $1, that would be $3. And I need to figure out how many groups of 3 it would take me to get to 78. Now, I'm just going to start by making jumps, and the first reasonable jump would be going 1 times 10, which would be 10. And if I multiply the 1 by 10, I have to multiply the 3 by 10. Well, 10 groups of 3 would be 30. Okay? And then I could just double both of them again. 10 doubled would be 20, and 30 doubled would be 60. And now here's where kind of your basic math facts come into play. And I hope you've been practicing your math facts and staying up on your math facts on MobiMax. But here I can look, once I get close to 78, which I am, I'm at 60 right now, figure out how far away from 78 am I? Well, I'm 18 away. So now I think, how many groups of 3 can I get to 18 without going over? Well, if I think 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, that's 6 groups of 3. So now if I add 60 and 18 together to make 78, I would add my 20 and 6 together to get 26. So it'd take 26 groups of 3 to get to $78. So now let's look back at the question. How much money did each grandchild receive? Each grandchild would have received $26. Okay. All right, we're going to try one more problem. So if we look at one more problem here, it says Tanya and 3 friends have saved $75 to protect the pandas. If they each gave the same amount, how much money did each person contribute? So again, I'm going to start out and make sure I understand what the problem is asking. How much money did each person contribute? Okay, second thing I'm going to do is figure out, do I know the total amount, or am I trying to find the total amount? And in this case, again, I know the total amount is $75. So I'm going to start with the total, 75, and then I need to figure out how many equal groups. If I know the total, I know I'm dividing. If I'm trying to find the total, I'm going to multiply, but in this case, I know the total, so I'm going to divide. And how many equal groups am I trying to break this 75 into? Most people would look at it and think, well, 3 friends, right? So divide it by 3, but it's Tanya and 3 friends. So it's Tanya plus her 3 friends. So there's going to be 4 equal groups. So I need to figure out what 75 divided by 4 would be. And again, I'm going to use the strategy that we've already known and practiced. And I'm going to make a ratio table. And if each one did $1, that would be 4, and I need to take that to $75. Okay, so then again, I'm going to make a really reasonable jump of 10, and that would be 40 then. And then I can think, well, if I double 10, that would be 20. But if I double 40, that's going to be 80. That's more than 75. So maybe I go at a halfway point. And if I have 5 groups of 4, that would be 20. Okay. And then if I combine those two and I add 10 and 5 to make 15, 40 plus 20 would make 60. And now, as you can see, we're getting pretty close to our 75 now. And in fact, we're 15 away. So knowing our basic facts again, trying to think, hey, 4 times what gets me closest to 15 without going over? Well, I know 4 times 4 is 16, but that's more than 15. So I'm going to have to go with 3, and that's going to be 12. So the closest I can get is by doing 15 plus 3 would be 18, and 60 plus 12 would be 72. So how much did each person contribute? My exact answer with the remainder is going to be 18, and then I have a remainder of 3. And I need to look at this and I need to think to myself to make sure I understand, what is this 18 telling me? Well, in this case, the 18 is telling me that each person is going to pay or contribute $18, right? Okay, now what do I have 3 remaining? Well, I have $3 remaining. So I need to split my remaining. So how am I going to interpret that remainder? We have 3 options that we've talked about in class. You can round it up and add 1 more to the answer, but unfortunately, we can't magically make money appear as much as I wish we could. We can't. We could just throw it away and completely drop it, but that wouldn't make sense if we just dropped and threw away good money. Or we can write it as a fraction and decimal. And in this case, we can with money, right? We can write money, break dollars into decimals and change. So if I have $3 and I have 4 people that I need to split that $3 between, and let's just think, if I have 4 people, everybody gives 50 cents. And if you pretend these are my quarters, everybody gives 2 quarters, 50 cents. Okay. So I'm drawing my lovely quarters here. Okay. So if everybody chipped in an extra 50 cents, well, that would be $1 because 4 quarters would make $1. And those 2 together would make another $1. So that's $2, but I would still have $1 left. Well, if there's 4 people and I need to split that $1 between, they're each going to give 1 more quarter, right? So now they each gave 2 plus 1 more. So they each ended up giving 3 quarters, which is 75 cents, right? So before, we knew that they each gave $18. And then if we interpret our remainder, they would have each contributed $18.75. Okay, division problem with larger money, interpreting remainders. I hope that makes sense. Your assignment, work on a trek, get a trek done. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for our next